Guess what time it is?
It's time for small potatoes.
Where we give you a naughty tease of our latest Patreon episode.
Be sure to subscribe. Links are in the description.
Truth be told, nobody warns new girls that the real danger in this community isn't scammers, it's trying to lose yourself, trying to live up to a persona you created on your best day. Everyone talks about safety, prices, branding, content, but nobody talks about how easy it is to lose your identity when your online self becomes louder than your real one. Gut punch, right? We have both experienced that. That's for darn sure. But this list really highlights some of the key points that she's talking about. And each one of them pull a different heartstring for me. I'm sure you feel the same, but let's dive in. You start performing confidence instead of feeling it. How comments from strangers can ruin your whole mood. You know that one. How chasing numbers becomes part of your full-time personality. Right? There's a few others, but let's dive into those three because they're very different and yet all applicable. And obviously she does online sex work, but as in-person sex work people, this hits my gut home. It's the same thing.
The internet, social media, it is such a beast. I mean, it's such a tool, but it is such a beast that it's long gone are the days of, going into the massage parlor and working and leaving. You have a Twitter account, you have a Blue Sky account, you have an Instagram, you're answering DMs, you're booking yourself. So you never actually get to turn off. It's not like you can clock out and be like, Emily's gone till tomorrow. No, she's still working. And I think that's the piece that keeps you really locked in at all times. And even when you're not feeling sexy or confident, which we all have, give ourselves grace. We all have moments that we don't. But it's hard because you have to keep up with that fantasy persona.
It's true. I like what she said about starting it on your best day. Because listen, we've launched a lot of things in our entrepreneurial lives, you and I, and the excitement level makes you want to dive headfirst into everything right off the hop. Both feet, every feature, let's do all the things. And within, I would say our first time, it took probably 6 months before we got annoyed by things. But now within a week, I'm like, why the fuck did we choose that we need to be on every social platform or need to post across 12 places? Enough already. Why did we think we need to do it all, not only so fast, but also for many sex workers, it's as a one-man show. So you don't have support in that regard. You don't have we have an editor that helps us with the pod. When you're a sex worker doing your online OnlyFans content or whatever it is you're doing, you're editing, you're, posting, you're trying to be a social media manager, you're now an accountant, you got to be a salesperson, you've got to be HR, PR, everything in between. And that can get really unmotivating because it's exciting when it's photo shoot day. It's not exciting when it's back end bitch work day. That sucks. And I know for both of us as owners, that stuff scratches at our brains often. It ends up taking away some of the fun and feeling sexy and all those things. So if you're trying to be, let's say, efficient in your time and tackle, let's say in the morning, you tackle all the desk work stuff, are you really feeling that sexy to make content later that afternoon or evening? For me, no. It took my whole vibe away and now I need a nap and I'm just checked out. I personally would hate the pressure of having to stick to a schedule where I need to show more than my face on the regular. Thank God we're not naked news, standing naked or in a bikini, being like, Riley, what's the latest in sex work? It's I would die having that pressure on me, my body, and my outfit, my lighting, my angles, all the things. Fuck that.
You know what? And I think some of this isn't just sex work exclusive because I'm thinking of that. There's guilt to it too. If I don't do certain things or certain tasks, but I'm sure a real estate agent could feel the same way. I really think social media is what drives all of those emotions because there's just so much to do in so many different ways that for one person, it like you said, it's a monster. You don't have a team of people. And I think when you're having to wear your Emily or your Riley cap for too many hours of the day, it's really almost, it might feel a little uncomfortable to come out of it and be like, you know what, I'm just going to be me for the next 2 hours. And I don't actually care about any of these things.
Right. Or it can get to the point where you've been Emily and Riley for too long. And when you finally decide you're going to take a day for yourself, you don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're like, I haven't done anything just for me. And so now this like stark reality smacks you in the face that my life is empty and Emily's is full. And I guess I better just get my work done. And I so often sacrifice or like choose that way instead of being like, well, no, maybe that means I need to spend more time as me and focus on that. And that flux has caused, I don't want to call them crises or anything, but these like, you know, come to Jesus moments where you're just like, we need to have a talk, me and me. We need to figure this out because the balance is off. Few of the times that I noticed it the most was when I ended my engagement. I not only was suddenly void of wedding planning and all the things that consume all that excitement, but I realized I was either Emily or I was someone's partner. And I was never just me. And I could not remember the last time someone called me by my real name. And when someone finally did, I had a meltdown that day. Because I was like, I haven't heard that in many moons and many, many months. And it was just weird. And it was jarring. And I went on a huge rebellion. I think it was a couple months. I traveled more because I was like, get me out of this. Put the emails for the spa on auto reply. Because I was like, I just can't deal with this. And it affected business. It definitely, Emily's fault caused a dip for sure, because I wasn't on my P's and Q's. But mentally, it was the best thing I could have done. I went a little, I didn't really go like sow my oats wild, but I went free time wild. Like I just need every minute to be recess or else I'm going to scream or I'm going to flunk. Like it's one or the other. But that pressure was the first time it really hit me hard. And it was new. I was like, this is like, how do you navigate this? And I remember at the time I was still speaking to my family. My dad's always been a business owner and entrepreneur. So I was like, Daddy, what do you do when? And he was like, yep, I remember those days because long hours, long days, days turn to weeks, weeks turn to months, and years have gone by. And when you're an entrepreneur, I don't think many people realize that you're never not on the clock. You're just not sleeping 3 a.m, building's on fire. You're getting a phone call. Like there is no off switch. There's no off days. We just passed our 2 official off days, Christmas Day and New Year's Day. And I purposefully ignore the shit out of people on that particular day. And yet I still have to send all the staff a Merry Christmas, and I still have to answer certain people, you know, whatever. It'd still be somewhat with my Emily hat half on. And I'm like, just have a day. Just have one.
It's really too bad that both of our days are like so back to back. Like now we got to wait till next Christmas. It's a little long.
It's a long time.
I think when people, they carefully craft these personas, and I think they can be used for good. There is a level of escapism that can be quite handy that I've actually thoroughly enjoyed over the years. I still do. There's certain times where I'm like, I gotta be Riley today. Sorry to, you know, personal life, but that's just what's going to have to happen. But I mean, and we create them for safety, for boundaries. There's so many reasons that sex workers use aliases, but we've seen quite a few girls come through the doors of Muse who become super successful, whether they stay completely in the massage career or advance to being more of a private outcall independently, but they are completely immersed in those worlds. Like we see it online, that as much as I like kind of want to toot a horn for her and be like, look at her go, I also have this moment of like, is she okay? Or is she always being Jane? You know, like you need that personal time to turn it off, because the lifestyle can be really fun and rewarding and like riches that follow from it.
Yeah.
But it's not reality necessarily.
Well, and I think her point about comments from strangers can be one of those that you could be on that like growth streak, that high point where you're just, maybe it's not bothering you for a couple months and you're pumping out the content and things going boom, boom, boom. And like you're in this flow. And then it takes one shitty review or one jackass in the comment section, and it can plunge your mood for an extended period of time, depending on what it touches on. I was an avid reader of reviews back in the day. You and I both completely avoid the boards now just because they're not what they used to be. They're not authentic anymore. But I distinctly remember a few of them messing with my self-confidence so much. And the hindsight is always beyond 2020 because I was this big being called fat online, and now I'm a plus size girly. And listen, I don't give a fuck who wants to write about that online anymore because it's like, too bad. I'm too old to care. But at that point, it's hard to go in the next day and get sexy naked, happy to be here naked, and you don't know who wrote that about you. What if he's your next client? Because the same fuckers that write things like that are the ones that still see you all the time and love to add their 2 cents every single time someone else puts an Emily review up. They'll be like, well, I saw her again recently and blah, 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 blah. And you read this, and the amount of tears that have been shed by women reading sex work reviews of themselves, even some of the positive ones can still touch on comments that you're like, didn't need to hear that, didn't need to know that, never cared about how my back looks from a 45-degree angle when I'm leaned over giving a hand job. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? And yet his perspective is, well, I looked in the mirror and there was a roll there and it was very unattractive. And you're just like, excuse me?
Well, and that's the part is it's such a personal service that there's lots of people that get shit on in their work life, but it's about you didn't give me a good enough rate, or I didn't get the service that I was promised, or my car still was dirty after being detailed. But we're talking about like the bodies. It's about the way we look, the way like our sensuality, our touch, our hygiene. Like it is about literally your insides. So it feels different. And that can be a high when you're highly reviewed. But the second someone says something that's a little distasteful, it's internalized in a very different way as a sex worker.
Well, and the thing is with it being written word is there is no tone. And I think our instinct is always to assume the worst tone possible.
True.
And so it could even be more of a dig than it was meant to be. And that shit, some of it could stay with you. It's no different than bullying when you're like in school. You'll always remember that stupid boy in grade 5 that told you blah, blah, blah. And you're like, oh, great. So forever for the rest of my life. Now I'm going to wonder, are my legs too fat? Like, stupid as shit. And the answer is always, no, they weren't. No, they're not. And no, they're not going to be. But it's trying to like appease people at the same time as not losing yourself in that. And I was a little bit of a brazen little shit back in the day on the boards. And I did a bit of role reversal and reviewed, I think it was 6 different clients. The way I had to tiptoe around writing those reviews. Now, granted, they were all lovely gentlemen. Luckily, I never had to write a bad review. But I had to debate with myself quite seriously. Do I do the body parts rating like men do? Because it's one thing to be like overall experience, 8 out of 10. Massage quality, 8 out of 10. Like those kind of things are fine. But when they start breaking down looks of labia, areola widths, makeup application, you know, like all these different things. She wasn't shaved to how I like, and too many birthmarks, or has too many freckles, or like things you're never changing. And they put it on this scale system, worse than like a Google review or a Yelp rating. And you're sitting there going, I never in a million years would have thought my face was a 4 out of 10. But thanks, Jim Bob 801. Cool. And then Jim Bob 801 will be on your table in no time, going like this to the back of your head, begging for a BJ. So like what? It fucks with your mind in so many ways. But I think one of the other things that workers, especially the ones you were talking about, that get like overly immersed in, like, do you ever take a time when you're not that girl? It can be a little bit more like of a gut punch that throws you off and really can affect your real life relationships. Because at least one girl in particular that popped in my mind when you were saying that, and probably the same girl we were thinking of. I think so. She does not hold personal relationships. She exclusively dates her clients in the sense that they go for vacations and they go for overnights and they do these long date like, you know, fly me to use and these long like appointments together where you spend 16 hours or 6 days together. But that leaves no time for personal relationships. She also is very disconnected from family. So like if your only friends are other sex workers and your only male interest is clients, you could then fast forward 8 years of your life with no real life dating experience or no real adult relationships happening. You've never lived with someone before. You've never broken up an engagement or a marriage or like something like big life things that are awful, but teach you a lot of things about yourself. You're limiting some of the life lessons that you should kind of be learning in your 20s and 30s and so on. And yet at my age now, part of me is like, I ain't dating for a very long time, but to have 6 wealthy boyfriends that like to see me once in a while, like I could use a fancy dinner. I could use a trip. Like, that's actually quite enticing nowadays because it's part-time boyfriends. And that I can digest. I can stomach for sure. Especially if it's nice and it's delicious and it's over a sunset on the beach. Fucking sign me up.